guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Real Results Show, where we feature real health coaches and health practitioners getting real health results for their clients and themselves. As always, I'm your host, Brendan Vermeire. I'm a clinical advisor for FDN. I'm also the director of our tribe's awesome association, where we support the community with a lot of ongoing education regarding a variety of different clinical and business building topics. So this week, I was supposed to have my friend Tina on the line, and it seems maybe we're having some technical difficulties, but you know what? The show's got to go on, right? So tonight we were slotted to talk a little bit about mold illness, which is actually a subject I'm extremely passionate about myself. So if Tina is able to join us, I'll certainly try to bring her in, but either way, I wanted to make sure that we have an awesome educational show for you guys, because that's what this is all about, and that's what FDN practitioners are extremely passionate about. Our whole motto is we don't medicate, we educate. And I've said this many times on the show before, but that's where the word doctor originally is a Latin word that means to teach. And, you know, I like to say that I'm just a boy from Kansas out to save the world from chronic disease. And I truly believe the greatest medicine of all is to teach people how not to need it. That's kind of my personal slogan. And that's why I'm so passionate about working for functional diagnostic nutrition as the leader of our community, because their mission of teaching people how to get well and stay well naturally, and then turning around to teach someone else how to do it, that's what we're all about. So as you can see, there's so much synchrony and alignment with my mission with FDN, which is why we're here. And I know that I can speak for each and every one of my 400 elite functional practitioners in the AFDNP. I know I can speak for them when I say we're all equally passionate about doing this work, you know, so it's a beautiful system. Now, guys, for those of you that might not be able to stick around to the end of the show, if you're interested in functional diagnostic nutrition, I super invite you to drop the word aspiring, all caps, like a few people have already done. Good for you guys. Drop that word aspiring into the box below, and you can get a little bit more information about the FDN course. You know, something I'm really passionate about. I don't hide it. Like, I'm actively recruiting. I started my career as a personal trainer and nutritionist, and was exposed to functional lab testing for a more holistic approach and science-based, evidence-based approach to helping people reach optimal wellness through that functional underlying cause investigative methodology, which is what FDN is all about. So again, drop the word aspiring to learn more about, is this the right fit for you? You know, and another thing I would invite you is we have our conference coming up in November, San Diego, Hard Rock Hotel. So a lot of people that are kind of on the fence about, like, well, I mean, it seems really interesting, but like, I don't know, it seems like, yeah, it is an investment. It's a big investment of time and energy and money as you dive into this. You know, you have to kind of treat it like you're almost like going back to school in a way. So then you decide, like, do I want to be an elite FDN practitioner? You know, hobbyist versus the professional. But that's why we have our conference in November, and we're opening it to the public. So anybody that's interested can attend the conference. You don't have to be an FDN practitioner. But it's the best way to find out, like, is this for you? Because immerse yourself in the environment. There's going to be hundreds of professional FDNs there that, you know, you can vibe with and see if you fit us energetically, but also all the lectures. I'll be lecturing there. A lot of my awesome colleagues. We're going to be talking about all sorts of amazing topics, whether it's how to build the perfect practice or you know, I'm talking about mold microbes methylation, which, what does that mean? But business building, clinical. So that's what we're all about. We're really trying to educate and empower people so they can turn around and do the same. So anyways, no word on Tina. So again, the show must go on. We were going to talk about mold illness. So I wouldn't mind taking the opportunity to teach you all about that a little bit. And also, you know, showing how FDN practitioners work a little bit in some of those more advanced levels. So to help you understand, you know, we have our FDN level 1 curriculum. That's kind of the basic training that all FDNs go through to earn the title of FDNP, right? It's a very prestigious title. It means a lot. These are highly educated individuals. And, you know, I'm pretty well, you know, connected in this industry. And I can tell you that there isn't anything else like it. There's nothing else that takes the investigative functional lab test model and combining it with more of a holistic health coach based program. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. We use the clinical objective data so we can identify those hidden stressors and healing opportunities in our clients' unique physiology. So then we better know how to coach them towards health using lifestyle, environment, supplementation, but even more still, as you start getting into the advanced FDN level 2 curriculum, that's where we start getting into where we can even help empower that client of they know what to be going to their doctor for, of like, hey, doctor, I have these test results. My awesome FDN practitioner health coach, let me know that I might want to consider doing some antibiotics for this parasite that they identified. You know what I mean? So it's not conventional versus functional. It's we need to use the best available science to start combating this chronic disease epidemic. And I firmly believe that the AFDNP members are the most elite level practitioner to be the tip of that spear. That's why I'm so passionate about it. So as far as mold illness goes, mold is definitely a huge hidden stressor that we have to be looking for in certain demographics. So with the way that I look at functional healing and self-healing is it's going to be lifestyle and environment first. So my personal area of focus as a professional is really more kind of in the environmental side of how the toxic environment or environmental exposures, along with crappy lifestyle, again, my background is personal training and nutrition, but so obviously the lifestyle and the environment, and then how that can greatly contribute or exacerbate illness and chronic disease. So with mold in particular, just like Mold 101, if we think about the hierarchy of biology, we have these different kingdoms. We have plants, we have animals, and then fungi is its own kingdom. And I wanted to point that out to start, to point out like we have to respect the fact that mold has been on this planet way longer than humans have. It is a highly adaptable, resistant organism, highly intelligent. It's been programmed and it's evolved through millions of years of evolution, much, much longer than we have. So my point being, it's highly sophisticated. And here's the funny thing about mold. Everybody knows about mold. Everybody's heard about mold. Everybody's seen mold a few times, like on your strawberries as it grows overnight and eats your fresh strawberries, or more on the severe side of things, you had bad water damage to your home, and maybe that resulted in some mold growth. I was just having lunch with one of my good friends yesterday, and when they were moving out of their apartment, they discovered that their master bedroom closet, they took away the clothes and the shoes, and they saw all this mold from I think like the water heater, something leaked behind a wall, and there was just a pool of water. And so with mold, it's a fungi that it has to break down organic rotting matter. It's kind of a recycling type of organism. So it's a very necessary part of our world and our ecosystem, right? So that's the thing though, is it needs humidity, it needs the proper temperature, and it needs rotting organic matter, particularly carbohydrate substances. And it grows its little hyphae, filamentous kind of fingertip projections, releases these enzymes, breaks down the carbohydrate type material, whether that's drywall or the wood that gets damaged, or a big thing is like dust on your carpet, or if you have pets that are having accidents on the carpet, that's rotting organic material. So mold can really just proliferate in any type of environment conducive to its growth. And so mold shoots out all these little mold seeds or spores, and they are microscopic, and these spores are highly temperature resistant, highly pressure resistant. I swear the things could probably survive an atomic bomb or something like that. And so these spores will travel around, through the wind. They'll be blown around. They'll get on an object, including your shirt or, the dog or whatever, and then be transported around. And then all it needs is to land on that proper environment, and it will start proliferating. So that's kind of the biology of mold. Before now we make it sound super duper scary and all of that. But we have to keep in mind there's hundreds, actually I think thousands of species of mold. Not all of them are toxigenic. And not all of them can really grow inside super well. So the most toxic, the most common indoor molds that are toxigenic that we want to be concerned about in relation to our health are going to be like Penicillium, Aspergillus, Stachybotrys, and Fusarium. Those are kind of the main four that we tend to focus on the most because they're the most common. They're very toxigenic. So we have to respect, again, this is a whole kingdom, of life with fungi. So it does have defense mechanisms. The way that mold defends itself from other competitive fungi, right, in an energy scarce environment, it's still survival of the fittest, right? So its defense mechanism is using mycotoxins or fungi poison, if we want to translate that. Pretty straightforward, mycotoxin. So these mycotoxins, these are, they're contained on the spores. It's released from the mold. And so we would maybe call it a biotoxin or a bioaerosol. It is kind of a gaseous. It's the molecules are ionospheric, which really just means that there's a hydrophilic and lipophilic end to each side of the toxin, which means it can really just pass through your cell membranes and the phospholipid bilayer that makes up your cells very, very easily. And so then it can kind of get stuck in all these different tissues. And so generally the problem is, again, water damaged homes, that's going to be like the most like severe situation where, oh my gosh, like I opened my closet and there was black mold everywhere. And you've probably been breathing in spores and getting mycotoxin exposure. Mycotoxins can absorb right through the skin. You inhale them. You can also inhale the spores. So generally where mold illness occurs is when you start breathing in spores and you're getting these mold seeds up in your sinuses and it starts developing fungi and biofilm up in there. But then the big problem too, you swallow mucus that might contain spores and you drop that down into your GI tract. And so then that opens the door for potential colonization of the gastrointestinal tract, or even too, you'll see reports and case studies of different surgeries and implants, whether that's like a breast implant or a hip implant. And it has been shown like sometimes mold will grow on the implant. So with mold illness, we kind of want to back up and think of step one, environmental exposure, right? Step two, colonization. Has the mold started colonizing your body, whether it's the sinuses, GI tract, which is generally where it's going to be going on, or it could potentially be systemic in certain situations, like, lungs. You hear about Aspergillus infection of the lungs. Now, colonization or fungal infection, as medical doctors might refer to it, that is documented and well known. What's not so well known is what we might call like mold illness or biotoxin illness or mycotoxicosis, mycotoxemia, whatever, aka it's not the colonization, that's part of it, but the toxicity that occurs as mycotoxins sequester your tissues. These mycotoxins are highly nephrotoxic, carcinogenic. I mean, literally toxic to just about every tissue in the body. And different mycotoxins are, more poisonous to different tissues and all of that. So I have all that mapped out elsewhere. But these mycotoxins, they're highly toxic, carcinogenic, but they also are highly immunosuppressive, which is a problem because then it shuts down the immune system and quite literally opens the door for other infections, which is why any like mold literate practitioners are also probably Lyme literate. They probably are studying Lyme and co-infections, stealth infections, but parasites, because when the immune system is suppressed, everything else like Epstein-Barr might reactivate, Babesia and Borrelia might proliferate, parasites, and blah, blah, blah. So that goes on and on. Now, when would you suspect mold illness, right? So anytime you have a client, or if you're not a professional, maybe just like a loved one or whatever, But anytime that I'll just think out loud so you guys can kind of see the way, you know, I'm working through this stuff professionally when I, you know, consult with somebody is, you know, fibromyalgia. We need to check you for mycotoxicity and mold illness and mold colonization pronto. Fibromyalgia is a big one. Chronic fatigue syndrome, you know, that's a big one. But it can really create a lot of mysterious symptoms like joint pain or kind of like a vibrating sensation under the skin. You know, you can lose your sense of smell, a ton of neurological symptoms. It's pretty remarkable in a bad way, how widespread, you know, the symptoms can be and everything. But nonetheless, you know, and yeah, I see some of you having a little dialogue there. Genetic factors definitely play a role. HLA, you know, I'm not trying to turn this into like a clinical lecture. I'm saving that for the FDN conference. I'll be lecturing about mold illness there. But nonetheless, I want to teach you guys and empower you guys, because here's the thing is I have a lot of different case studies and clients, and, you know, it is a huge demographic I work with just because it's, you know, you get back what you put out into the universe, right? So when you're putting a lot of education about, you know, mold illness and all the kind of stuff, then people start seeking you out. So anyways, but nonetheless, my point being, a lot of these clients and people and loved ones, they might be really struggling with a lot of severe health complaints. And, you know, when they go to the doctor, it's very allopathic. It's just, well, what medication can we treat your disease with, right? And I'm not saying anything that it's right or wrong. That's just how it is. So I just look at it as like, okay, so how about we take ownership of our health and what can we do, you know, to get well, stay well naturally? And that's, you know, where FDN practitioners, okay, well, I don't expect the average person off the street to know what to do when, okay, I just got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. All I know is I'm in horrible pain every day. That's where seeking out an FDN practitioner could very well change your life, is we are seeking to get to the root cause. Because one of my, you know, clients I've been working with now, we're creeping up on our 1-year anniversary working together. And I remember when she was first, you know, kind of referred to me, you know, it's like, Brennan, you know, I've got this client, and you know, she has severe depression, severe joint pain, musculoskeletal pain, you know, She's been to 3 medical doctors. They said it was all in her head and offered her, you know, psychiatric drugs and all of that. And it's like, oh, that's so sad. And, you know, I remember there was a distinct moment, and I was like, I am going to do everything in my power to help this woman. Because I remember at one point, you know, she was telling me how she couldn't brush her daughter's hair without crying because the pain was so bad. Pulls at the heartstrings. And so that's the thing, guys, is, you know, I'm not here to talk about conventional versus functional. No, that's scarcity mindset, and that is not a conducive mindset to saving the world. So I don't waste the time. That's my stance. But my point being, we can't look at the shortcomings of the healthcare industry. We need to take ownership and empower ourselves. And that's what FDN is all about, because we are seeking out those underlying causes. We're using the functional testing to identify those key hidden stressors. You know, like with that particular client, I ended up running like 9 lab tests because I wanted to really have I wanted to know what I was dealing with here. And, you know, within the first minute of hearing what was going on with her, I immediately told my friend, I was like, yeah, get her in contact with me. That sounds like chronic inflammatory response syndrome. It's probably either Lyme and or mold, kind of flip up, and all the nasty stuff that comes with that, which is a lot of hormone imbalances, probably autoimmunity, a lot of the common stuff that comes with something that severe. And, you know, 9 lab tests later, I confirmed every single suspicion I had. The objective data shows it. Okay, now we're empowered to do something about it. So, you know, immediately, and, you know, I'm not here to like go through a whole case study, but I can tell you that by using the functional testing, identifying those healing opportunities, identifying those key hidden stressors, we were then able to use the proper intervention with lifestyle, environment, supplementation through a self-healing protocol for her to get symptom-free in 6 weeks. Now, it's an ongoing case. It's not like we fixed everything in 6 weeks, but we're talking about a woman that was struggling to want to continue living because of how bad she hurt and how bad she felt. And within 6 weeks, she was able to experience what it felt like to feel symptom free, even if it didn't last. Think about the power, the impact that's going to have on somebody that has lost hope and had 3 medical doctors say it's all in your head. I know I'm kind of intense right now. I'm on like a soapbox right now, but this stuff fires me up, and it should fire you up. It should. If it doesn't, like, I don't know what, what occupies your brain all day, but there's nothing more fulfilling than serving others. And that's the funny thing, is it's well shown in the scientific literature that a sense of purpose enhances human longevity and increases quality of life. Like, that's the thing. So what's funny is the scientific literature demonstrates that it is through service to others that we find our purpose and we achieve self-actualization. It's the eudaimonic pursuit of happiness and fulfillment rather than the hedonic pursuit of pleasure. Run from pain, run towards pleasure. So my point being, if any of this resonates with you, you love helping people and you love being able to help restore hope to those that have lost hope and been failed by other professionals that weren't able to find the thing, or then the victim mentality and the dependency. We don't medicate, we educate. I'm here to be that spirit guide as I hold my client's hand, be their support system, but be their highly educated guide that is looking at what nobody else is looking at. Parasites, mold, heavy metals, environmental toxicants, working on the lifestyle, working on the environment. And even in the functional medicine space, again, I'm deep into the industry. I just got back from a show Monday, beautiful show, but there's no bodies out there. There's no associations that are really putting it all together. We have to do the lifestyle, the environment. When I say lifestyle, there's the nutrition, the rest, the exercise, the sleep hygiene, the supplementation, the stress reduction, the spirituality. There's so many different components. And if all we're doing, if all functional medicine is going to be is, well, now doctors are running functional tests and treating the functional tests with supplements and pharmaceuticals. No, like, we need so much more than that. Like, that's part of it, sure. It's part of it, sure. But it's still too identical to the reductionistic model of conventional medicine of a pill for an ill. How are we ever going to get past the chronic disease and chronic mental health epidemic while we're destroying the planet? Wow, I'm really on a soapbox tonight, guys. Goodness. Tina missed out and awoke the beast. But nonetheless, I think you guys kind of get the point of what I'm getting at. So we did, that was a little more soapboxy and scientific heavy than this show was really meant to be. But I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope that if anything that I said resonates with you, I see you guys blowing up the box below. I'll be interested to read what you guys are writing down there. But I did see a question about what conference. So the conference I was referring to is the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Conference. We're hosting that at the Hard Rock Hotel, November 1 through 3, San Diego, like I said. A lot of amazing, all the biggest names in, functional medicine and health coaching space will be there. I mean, not all of them, but a pretty awesome lineup of speakers there. I'll be there lecturing on mold illness and stuff. So if you liked this kind of content, but again, if you're a professional looking to take your career to the next level, and this industry, this world kind of resonates with you or is interesting to you, I'd highly encourage you to set up an appointment with one of our course counselors. They're awesome girls. I'm 99% sure they're all FDN practitioners themselves, so they can tell you from experience. Maybe you're a practitioner that, is wanting to take your skill set to the next level. That's where like our level 2 curriculum that, I'm helping with is an amazing way to kind of upgrade, so that's what I'm really passionate about is educating doctors, practitioners, clinicians, on, how to keep going. So yeah, I see some good, Dr. Tom O'Brien, Karan, Carrie Jones, Karen Hubert, Jen, Lara, Deborah, now I'm just rattling off, Kendra, all my friends there. But yeah, it's going to be a sick lineup. We've got an amazing lineup. I know all the speakers, most of them pretty well. And I can tell you that they're amazing humans, amazing expertise. So, I mean, even if you don't give a damn about FDN, like it's still worth it just to see the speakers. But hey, come be my friend. I still have some bring a friend discount codes I can hand out to my homies. So I'd love to see you there though, genuinely. And, maybe you're watching and you're not a professional and you're not interested in doing this professionally, but maybe you need help with your health and achieving optimal health again, in which case you can always seek out an FDN practitioner. There's about 3,000 of us worldwide, and then 400 of us that, hey, this is what we live, breathe professionally in the AFDNP, which is our alumni group, our elite squad of professional practitioners. So anyways, we're kind of right at the time. Thanks so much for all the people chiming in and whatnot. Is Brendan, all you guys are dropping a lot of comments there. I'll catch up with your comments after I get off here, but let me wrap up the show and then I'd love to chat with y'all. But again, for those of you interested, you can drop that word aspiring into the chat box, get more information. I don't know what happened with Tina, but you know what? We still had a good time, hopefully. I enjoyed getting to share a little bit and a little insight into our world. I'd love to share it with you. So much love to you all. Namaste. And I'll see you guys next week for another Real Results show. Have a good one.